Actually, I want you to start this time. I always start.
You always start.
Yeah, ladies first.
Thank you. Hi guys. Welcome to Cricket Time. I'm Franco Tartaglia.
And I'm Kelly Berman.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Welcome.
Welcome.
There you go.
Thank you.
See, that was so much better. I'm proud of you.
Great job.
Right? Like, I don't know what happened last time, but...
I fucked up.
Welcome, guys, to the Backyard Barn Insect Podcast. How y'all doing?
It's about the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Please do not say that.
It's cricket time, man.
It's about the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Chugga Choo thing.
What is there to talk about?
I mean, how many Chuggas are there before you say choo?
8. We already talked about this.
But why is it 8?
All right, I want you to do the whole thing, and then we'll figure out what it's supposed to be.
What the whole thing?
Like, you're not gonna say chugga out loud, right? Just do it. Just say it.
Say what?
The whole.
Like, say the whole thing?
Yes.
Chugga choo. That's too many.
No. Do it again. Just stop at 8.
Chugga.
Choo. That's it.
It's too many.
All right. Well, my question is
it's gotta be 6. Ready? Chugga choo. That makes more sense.
No, you said 8. You did it 8 times. It's 8. There's no argument.
Chugga, choo. It's 6. Come on. I mean, it's 6. I'm telling you it.
All right.
And I said 7 originally.
Okay. Something's wrong because odd numbers don't really work well.
Chugga, choo.
See, you're saying it wrong because
Chugga. Or like
no. Okay. See,
you try it now.
This is the importance. All right. This is the argument you were saying, but you need to think about what an actual steam engine looks like, right? And you have to understand how it sounds.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm seriously like this is the shit that you're getting mad, but I'm about to like put you onto some shit, right?
Okay, good.
Okay, so think about like, and this is the weird part because I have an intimate understanding of how like the train works.
Okay,
because I had to make a train. I had to make a toy train.
All right.
As one of my engineering projects, I had to actually make a toy train. So I had to understand the linkages to the wheels. So if you think about like a wheel or a train wheel,
right, there's
like the center axle, but then the old ones were linked off center from that. So that meant that I could draw it better than I can say, but the wheel would actually speed up then slow down, speed up then slow down, speed up then slow down, as the linkage moved. Okay.
I'm gonna say 2 things. 1, I remember that, and 2, I just feel like you're full of shit. I don't know why.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well,
no, continue. Yes.
Understand? Like I'm lulling you to sleep. This is what politicians do, right? So as it moves, right, it goes chugga.
It's like almost hypnotic. Yeah.
Choo, right? It has to be like 4 revolutions per whatever. That it's 4 chuggas per 1 revolution. Do you get what I'm saying? It's not like it can be off. It would always be the same thing every time.
And now I've completely forgotten my question.
You're welcome. I am officially Mitch McConnell and all of his fucking minions. All right. I've like perfected the, no, seriously, like, don't ask me why, but this is how my brain works. Understand, undefeated. Just accept it.
Okay, but we still haven't answered the question.
It's 8.
But why is it 8?
Because it can't be anything other than. First of all, we know it's not odd because that wouldn't make sense, but like mechanically.
Not? Sure.
All right. Okay. So
what if it like breaks down?
All right. Let's say you got a V8. Okay.
Yep.
Does all 8 cylinders not move in a specific pattern every time, there's a firing order.
Is there?
Yes. There, if all right, let's say it like this. Now I understand you're not mechanically inclined, but if you did not have a firing order in an engine, right? Yeah. If you don't have a firing order, then let's just say you don't have any order. Okay.
Okay.
So normally it depends on Ford or Chevy, but let me do Ford because I've had a Ford V8. Right? They go driver's side is bank 1, passenger side of the V8 is bank 2. So it may go 1-6, and then I can't remember. That's, oh my God. Yeah, somebody's gonna roast me in the comments.
Yeah, he's about to get roasted.
But it does it in pairs, right? It does it in pairs. As one goes, let's say it's 4. How am I gonna explain this to somebody who doesn't understand cars? See, this is why this podcast exists.
Yeah.
Okay, think of it like this. To keep balance within the engine and stopping it from destroying itself, there will always be one cylinder at the top of the stroke on one side, or may even be 2. So say it's a V8, so 2 pistons on one side of the car will be at the top.
Okay.
2 pistons will be at the bottom.
Okay.
Vice versa on the other side. Okay?
Yeah.
Now they all connected together. Oh my God, I just figured it out.
Okay, I'm trying to do calculus right now.
Democracy.
Like you know the meme with like the woman like in like
yeah.
GIF?
No. So the democracy of America is a fucking V8 engine, and we need to be the crankshaft. Holy fuck, I figured it out.
Please shut the fuck up.
No, seriously. All right, so you got to understand, like, what I'm saying is, I'm drawing parallels between something that isn't connected at all. But for a person who understands engines, that's smart, because one bank of the engine and the other bank, they are 2 different sides of an engine. And people can understand if you fuck up somewhere, one side could be getting everything it needs and the other side couldn't. And when that happens, the whole fucking engine still gets destroyed. So we need to make sure that both sides are happy, because if not, boom. Like, no, seriously, like, boom.
Oh.
I don't think you've never seen an engine grenade.
No.
I'll show you some videos. I've got this one. It's a Duramax. It's like at some competition. It's got like 3,000 horsepower.
We should post this.
We could.
We're going to post it, yeah? Or like...
I guess we can post it. That'd be kind of... If you don't understand the context and you haven't listened to this...
Well, listen to it, right?
Yeah, you're going to be left out, right?
There you go.
Yeah, so it's, it's going through its whole cycle. Goes through first, goes through second, and he smacks it, right? And you have to understand, diesels don't really rev that high because they're so torquey, it doesn't really need to rev that high. But yeah, he's at like 2,500 RPM. And the front end of the truck explodes.
Oh, shit.
So yes, when you don't have everything correct, he could have had a condition, which is, I guess that's like mechanic talk for what caused it. You can have like a lean condition. You can have a lot of things that cause the ecosystem of the engine to fail. So whatever he had, it was bad, and boom.
Wow.
So yeah, there you go. Democracy is a fucking V8 engine.
What does this have to do with my chuggas? I mean,
because we were talking about how it can't be an odd number. Because mechanically speaking, if you have like a V8,
what if you had like
or
a
V6?
What if you had like a V7?
You can't.
Why?
Because it would be mathematically imbalanced. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean, why couldn't you still make one?
You could, but it wouldn't be a V. It wouldn't be a V. It would be an inline. It would be straight. So that's why you have 4 cylinders that are 4 straight cylinders. Mm-hmm. You have a 6-cylinder, which is 6 straight cylinders, a straight 6. Then you have W12s.
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
It all has to do with harmony, right? Harmonics.
Okay.
And that's one of the big things that we're taught as engineers is about harmony and resonance. Like the first class we take is like statics, where we learn about bridges, right? And
it's always bridges. It's always the first thing.
Well, because bridges, like literally, that's Like, have you ever thought about the first engineering feat was probably to build a bridge? It had to be. It wasn't a road because, like, fuck it, you can just walk a path and boom. But, like, damn, like, you come up to a rim, it's like, fuck, I would like to be over there.
Need something to get across, yeah.
Yeah. So let's build one. You fucking fail, you're going to keep building until you make one, right? So first thing you do is build bridges.
Shit.
Right? And then all the stuff that you need to build a bridge, like a cantilever beam it's a beam that's only supported on one end. So you have to do your math because that's how you actually build a bridge. You start at one end or start at both ends and come together.
We have a lot of fear with bridges too. You were like the Bay Bridge.
Right? I've never been afraid.
No, but like people are afraid to cross bridges.
Yeah. You know what I'm afraid of?
What?
I'm afraid of fucking flying.
Why?
Because I understand what aluminum is as like a metal.
So you wouldn't go skydiving?
What does that have to do with flying though? You're already gonna be falling, so fuck it.
I mean, you're in a plane.
Yeah,
so
but I would have no issue being skydiving because if the plane crashes, I could just jump out and have a parachute.
Right.
But a regular plane, I don't have a fucking parachute.
I mean, you could.
What?
Get one. You can't buy a parachute?
Wait.
Can you buy one?
So you're telling me that I should bring a parachute with me at all times when I go flying?
If that makes you comfortable, then
it still wouldn't. Because you have to understand, like, all right, now I'm going to say something that you're not going to understand.
Okay.
But hopefully you can in the future.
All right.
There's this thing called stress. We all go through it every day. But mechanical stress, something different.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So certain metals, they have like a resistance to stress. Like you can actually put a load on a certain metal somewhere.
Is it like tensile strength?
Okay, yeah, it is. But I'm trying to simplify it, okay? So with aluminum, it doesn't really have a resistance to stress. So that means that over time, if you stress, unstress, stress, unstress, stress, unstress, a certain part of a metal, it actually microscopically creates a void.
Okay.
Like where it creates a crack. It's called crack propagation. It's where this one crack connects with another crack, connects with another crack, and it keeps cracking. And then guess what happens? Metal starts sliding. I don't think you've ever seen metal slide before, have you?
No.
Well, I've done enough tests to show when metal slides, it's not pretty because that crack becomes a void and that becomes space where metal, once stressed enough, will move like a river.
It sounds scary as fuck. So
it is scary.
I get
and
your
guess
fear.
what? And guess what? That's what aluminum does. Aluminum doesn't have resistance to stress. It's really strong. It's really light. But once it has a crack, you can never undo that crack.
So you could never be like an aviation consultant, like get on planes and fly over the world. And
No, and this is the scary part. Like, you don't know this. I've done research on it. All the planes that fly over the sky, they have flight records that show how many flights a plane has, right? And after a certain amount of flights, that plane gets decommissioned,
right? Because
it's gone through too many stress strain processes.
Gotcha.
Not necessarily because there was an issue, but just because that plane has been flown way too many times.
Who keeps track of that?
The aviations, whoever the governing body of aviations is. Hopefully it's not the people who make the shit like Boeing did and all that stuff, but yeah.
How do we know that people are really like keeping track of that shit? That's what gets me sometimes.
Well, that's the whole thing about hope, right? You got to have belief in your fellow American.
Faith.
Yeah, I call it hope.
I think it's faith, though.
Yeah, same thing.
No, I think it's different.
Okay. You have faith that a fellow American is putting your life over the dollar, right?
Yes.
But we've seen that that's not true, especially in the case with Boeing and the redundancies that they had in their planes, but they were too lazy to pay for every single pilot to take the class. They just gave them a fucking tablet.
Right.
Right? So, money over anything.
Yikes. So you do fly though?
I do.
Okay.
But listen, this is the whole point. Flying commercially is different from flying with the smaller agencies. Because the smaller agencies, guess where they get their planes from? the decommissioned planes from the big agencies.
Yikes.
So
always fly big.
Because those smaller planes have more flights on them. So those cracks, those microscopic little cracks that I talk about that aluminum doesn't like, that's when it really gets bad.
So never fly Spirit.
No, I would say you can fly Spirit, but like wherever you're going, make sure you land close to where you are. Because when we went through, I believe it was Puerto Vallarta, we took 3 flights. And the last flight was on, I've never been on a plane like this before. And it was sketchy. But of course, I'd rather just drive. You know I like cars. So
right.
I'd rather drive than fly.
You ain't driving there, my friend.
Yeah, bro. It's like the more you know, the more you figure out you don't know shit. Yep. I'm going to keep saying that because it is so fucking true. Everything around us, you can choose anything in here right now.
Maybe we can't even figure out the chugga problem.
No, I already figured it out.
Oh, okay.
Like, no, seriously, like I'm not shitting you when I say, like, if you look up the whole steam engine, you look at the chambers, there's a set number of chambers, set number of pistons, and that creates a number. It could be 3, it could be 6. So if it's 3, it'll be 6, right? 6 chuggas.
Right. Because
it'll just be 2 revolutions. Whatever it is, it's going to be even. So if you say 6, 8, 10, 12, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's even.
I'm just going to say 7. I mean, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay.
I'm okay. I've accepted that.
Well, my friend, when you create your V7 engine, I will give you $1 million. All right, sir, you win.
That's all I want to talk about today.
We can go home now. All right, so to compound and build off of the crazy shit that we talked about last week, let's continue that whole vein of what necessarily can we do, right, as just normal Americans to change the climate?
Nothing.
Shit, I agree. All right, okay. Damn it. I thought that'd be... this is going to be a short one, people.
We can try what we got. Let me see.
No, but yeah, like you brought us some good points. And I think us trying to create our own democracy shows us the complexity that comes with it and how it's meant to, bring everybody together. But we just talked about how the creation of it during that time, only rich white men were represented.
Right.
So maybe we need to redo it again.
Right. It's kind of like this podcast, though, when you think about it, right? We're 2 guys talking about a whole host of things, right? Politics being one of them.
Yes.
People just need to get together and talk about it. Mm-hmm. It's really that simple.
But tell me the last time a person from suburbia sat down with a person who lived, and I hate the word, like, I don't think you understand how much I hate the word urban.
Yeah.
But somebody who lives in an urban environment. Now, I'm not talking about a transplant from like a child who's lived in suburbia, who moved to the city because that's what's hip. I'm actually talking about somebody who lived in the city their entire lives.
That's a very different distinction.
What's crazy? That's us.
Yeah. That's me. I did that.
Right.
So.
And I moved to the suburbs away from the city.
Right. So who or how would those people converse?
They would have to be like us, right? But we have a weird background because we met at community college.
Right.
When we were at 2 different points in our life.
Yeah.
But what was it, math class or?
Yeah, math.
Right. At that time, what were you going to school for?
Physics.
Physics. Yes, I remember now.
Yep, physics.
Right.
Yep.
You were going to be a physicist.
Let's not talk about that.
No, I think, and this is the whole point. I had this really profound thought. I'm not going to tell you how I got there, but what's the difference between a physicist and a philosopher?
Philosophy is natural sciences, right?
Okay,
Physics
but
is natural philosophy.
would you not just say it's just the application of philosophy into one specific region?
Yes.
Right, like one of my engineering teachers, first thing he said out of his mouth is that engineering is just scientific philosophy. Like we are just philosophers trying to apply it to a physical world, and it blew my fucking mind.
Just asking the right questions, yeah.
Right? That's why we start, the first thing we do with anything in an engineering standpoint is assumptions. You have to write down your assumptions about something before you can even start answering the question. Because if your assumptions are wrong, then the whole thing is scrapped. So maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe in my mind, the way that I think, I need to form assumptions first. Mm-hmm. And then that'll allow me to fix the issue.
So you say assumptions, and you're going to have to tell me what you mean by that, because for me, the philosophers I've read, I approach it in the following way: as there can be wrong answers.
Yes.
There can be wrong questions. So,
okay.
For me, it's about the motivation of the question, right? Your motivation is the assumption, right? And that even comes before the question, right? You assume certain things, but is what I understand you to mean.
Well, it doesn't come before the question. It is a direct
correlation to it.
Correlation to what is needed.
So I guess my position is then before yours, which is to say, is the question I'm even asking a right one? Because it could be misguided.
Okay. Well, let's assume, right? Because that's what I do. Let's assume that we're talking about something that's needed, right? Like it is mandatory. It is not a question that the question isn't necessary, if you understand what I'm saying.
It's not that it's not necessary. It's that has not been given time for consideration. Like it's not been fully formulated or developed. And so that question, that's why often questions, and we end up having more questions, right? Is because the question we started with was not well thought out.
That is literally the entire design process of anything.
Philosophy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're saying now is that we need to add a philosophical element to everything around us at all times.
Yes.
How many people do that though?
It's not even that complicated. You just have to think, the question I'm asking, does it make sense, or is it going to have the desired outcome?
Right. Okay. Question.
Okay.
Why are certain brands so popular compared to others when their design, build quality isn't of the same standard? Why is that?
Marketing.
There you go. So, like, the smartest engineers in the world could build something, but if they don't have a marketing agent,
right,
the other dude who can make a really cool meme and a cool YouTube commercial is going to get all the play.
That's right. That's very true.
Right. Do you know any companies that's like that?
I feel like every company needs a marketing person.
No, I'm just saying, do you think there's any companies out there that have harnessed that? Oh, I think we talked about this before. I don't know the name of the book, but I need to read it. Maybe we can read it and talk about it here. But it was on the why, that people grasp the why, and that's what they stick with. There's a million products on the market right now, but that one brand harnesses something within every person who supports them, and it's normally through their why, like why they do what they do, why they make whatever they make, and it becomes like a status symbol.
So there was a book written by Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Okay. Yeah. So I was leading up for you to say Starbucks, but because you work there.
Well, yeah, Starbucks could be one.
Right. What makes Starbucks so?
Yeah.
So
I guess I'll start with Apple first before I talk about Starbucks, though.
yeah, because you have an Apple phone.
Apple is the most immediate relevance to me.
Tesla.
Although I don't really identify with Apple in that way, like in this kind of cultish following that a lot of people had. I don't know if it's really is it still like a cultish kind of thing still? I don't know.
All right, as an Android user, as a lifelong Android user, I would call it a cult.
Okay.
But for a person who's used an Apple product, I wouldn't say they think it is a cult.
Right, but so people might not necessarily view it as that, right? But it's certainly people have this, people wait in line overnight, like Black Friday shopping, people wait in line, right? So we kind of have these expectations of what it will be. So Starbucks too, I guess, when I work there, people have an expectation, right, of when they go to a Starbucks, what it will be. And one of the things that people flock to Starbucks for is environmentally conscious, right?
Somewhat environmentally conscious.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not the point, though, right? I mean,
and you picked out. I remember you said this a long time ago about how Starbucks had this thing where you could buy a cup of coffee and add the extra money or sum it up to the next dollar, and that would go to like some starving child in some country or. Yeah.
So yes. So if you buy a cup of coffee and a lot of even Giant like a lot of stores do it now. Do you want to donate your money to any organization? It could be local, help starving children. It could be for the environment. It could be any number of things, right? And that kind of gives people purpose, right, into what they do. But it also removes the guilt of having spent $5-6 on a cup of coffee.
That's a lot of money.
Right.
Like for the normal person working a 9 to 5, okay, you can go through that expense.
Yeah.
But like that's more money than certain people make in a year in other countries.
Right. But that's a mechanism. The mechanism is there to remove the guilt, right? Here, well, I'm already spending $5. Here's another buck to, support recycling. And
you know what I always thought about? Like, how and I know we've all seen these commercials about, I don't even know what organizations, I don't even want to know their names, that have always been pushing to save a starving child in Africa.
That or animals, yeah.
Yeah.
Puppies and stuff. Yeah.
Let's not focus on the puppy part because that's a whole nother thing that I have to get into. But let's talk about like specifically like saving a child in Africa.
Right.
Why are we focusing on Africa when there's starving children here?
Right.
Like we talked about last time, the grassroots movement, right? Why don't we have a feed the children in Baltimore movement? Right?
I agree with you.
Why can't we do that? Why does it have to be this grand gesture of, and I've seen, and the crazy part is I've not necessarily joined it, but there's these movements that are trendy, but they're not supportive to said community. You know what I mean?
So I don't think it will work, and here's why. I think it works. This is why it works for African children, right? Starving children in Africa, and it won't work here. It's because we know our own demons. We know deep down, people know what has caused situation, for example, in Baltimore to get to where it's gone. They really do. And so in some way, instead of addressing that guilt, they don't necessarily, they can't really identify, I guess, with starving African children, but it's marketed to them in such a way to like, oh, just, give $5-10 a month and everything will be fine.
Right. You can sponsor some child to go to school.
Yeah. And it makes it almost otherworldly. It's almost like religion in that way, where here's the money and just take it and go. Or one of the other things was, they'll even write letters back and forth to you, right? And that way it tries to address the humanity aspect in it. But ultimately, I agree with you. We need to address what happens here at home too.
Yeah. And that was an extrapolation on what you talked about last time, is how, like, grassroots. Like, I'm going to keep saying it because if we all can really try to focus on each other around us, let's see where that can go. Like, if we just worry about the people on our block, let's see what that could create. Right. Now, there are certain communities that do that. Like, I can speak from experience that the block that I lived on in the city, let's say every winter time, if we had a storm, a big blizzard, every man, woman, and child that could do it would come outside and we would all shovel snow as a community.
I've never heard of that.
Right. Never. Like, you have to understand, like, where we lived, the snow truck really didn't come for us, right? There were other more major roads to go to, so we would have to dig ourselves out. So I can tell you one of the biggest blizzards I can ever remember, the next day after it was done, the snow was off of the street from curb to curb, and everybody's car was dug out, and everybody's walkway was dug out because we all worked together. We were playing football on our street, while the next street over, people couldn't even go to their cars. Right. And that's a sense of community that I want to see everywhere.
Block to block. Wow.
Yep. Right? Just take care of your block. That's it. And then after you take care of your block, take care of the next block. And then that's how it should be.
Let me get into this problem where, where I live in particular, maybe that's not a good example, where as you get space, right? Mm-hmm. As you get that more acreage and you have that kind of widened territory, you don't really get to know your neighbor, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that too.
Get to know your neighbors.
Yeah. What do you think in the long run has having the ability to be separated and have this much space compared to, like, me, who lived in not a single family home, but a row home that was connected with 6 other homes, 6 other families. Right. We were forced to be together, even if we didn't want to. Yeah. Right. If one of us had an issue, all of us had to deal with it. Now, you living in a detached home, how was that for you? Like, did you have a sense of community besides waving when they walk past?
No. I mean, we say hi. Again, I want to go to the food truck thing. So I haven't gone, but would like to go. And yeah, I think that it just requires more effort in some way to get to know them, as opposed to, like, you being right here. And, like, take this for example. I had my parents come down here to help me with renovations to the house, right? They have a dog. I haven't really, like, gone and walked on my property. Like, in my mind, like, for some reason, I think it's kind of weird for me to be walking out there by myself and just, like, right. But it's mine. Like, why would I not do that? But to me, that's that kind of way I judge myself. Like, oh, it's like this bald-headed dude walking around his fucking property. I don't know.
No, newly bald-headed.
Yeah, newly bald.
Okay.
I don't know. It's kind of weird, but I should be able to, like, walk around, and then, the neighbor saw me, like, walking, like, he said hi.
Well, is that because you've lived in the city?
Yeah, it could be.
And you're not used to having extra space?
Yeah. That definitely could be a thing.
And just thinking, do you think being secluded like this can also allow you to think differently about certain topics?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe certain people are Republicans because they're secluded and they've always been by themselves. Right. So why the fuck do I need to worry about Jimmy John or whoever down the street? Right. When I gotta handle my stuff and he should be able to handle his by himself.
I mean, there's this old woman that lives across the street. I mean, she pops in and out, gets her mail and goes back inside. I mean, it's literally that detachment, which is not good for mental health in general.
Right. Now, let's talk about community. Like, what was your community like growing up? Did you have one?
Growing up, yeah, I had one on the street I grew up in. Yeah, I would say that we did. I mean, a lot of people, I would say 80% of the people knew each other, and like all the kids hung out with each other. So growing up, yeah, definitely I did, which I'm grateful for. But as I've gotten older, like community college, you kind of develop a community a little bit. It's not big, but you get to know people. College, didn't know Jack, didn't know anybody, especially at the college park. I don't know anybody. I'm from community college. Never, I had my own apartment. That was a tough time for me. That was really fucking tough. But now it's like the opportunity is there to get to know people. When I was in the city.
Now, how old are you?
28.
28, and you're just learning about like the importance of community.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah. So important though.
I'm thinking for myself. All I remember is playing football every day, like riding my bike to Towson Mall with my brother every Saturday morning. So we had this thing where we called it La La Land. This is crazy because this, I guess, is how my young mind conceptualized the difference. We would drive, and from where I lived, I didn't even live in a technically bad neighborhood. It's still not seen as a technically bad neighborhood. But yeah, me and my brother would ride our bikes up to Towson Mall. We would hit this one street in particular that was right over the county line. And when we would get to the street, it just was different. Like all of the lawns were cut to the same height. Every house had an American flag on it. You saw shit like men walking to the mailbox in robes, right? Like shit.
I did it the other day. Actually.
Shit. Exactly. There you go. Like imagine a little black kid riding past you saying, "What the fuck?" Like that right there. I said, "Man, this is some weird shit."
Yeah, and I would say I felt we were doing it because I was like, why can't I do it though, right? Because I own a robe and I want to get my mail.
And that's your property.
And that's
Right. But for me, I was like, holy shit, this is weird. Like, look at this, man. Everybody's got nice cars. Everybody's house is nice. Grass is cut.
Right.
What's the difference? At that time, I didn't know. Now I understand, but that's just ownership. Right. I was living next to one of the wealthiest areas in the country, and I didn't know it. Like all of the houses over there. Do you know where Gilman is?
I was gonna say Gilman. Yeah. I drove by there.
I
used to deliver bagels there.
Yeah. Yep. Do you understand? Like, I was riding past that shit, like cathedrals. I'm thinking that's a church and that's somebody's fucking house.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't like shell shock, but it was like, holy fuck, dude, this is a thing.
Shit changes real quick too.
But I'm thinking like, how many people never seen that shit?
Yep.
And it's cool because now we get the opportunity to talk.
Yep.
And I get to tell you what I saw.
Yeah.
What did you see when you went to the city? Did you ever go to the city as a kid?
As a kid, we probably hit all the the science center, all like the typical big aquarium.
So you're telling me like you literally only went to Baltimore City like you were a tourist?
Correct.
Damn.
Yeah.
Really? So
and that's that disconnect because then situations happen where I went to North Avenue to go to Everyman's, not Everyman, but to Everyone's Place.
Yes.
And
by the way, it's a great bookstore on West North Avenue.
West North Avenue, yeah. There's a disconnect, and it's interesting because I've traveled through, quote, those areas before, and really I was driving, like, you don't really think about it, right? But when you have to get out of your car, it's a different story, right?
Like your bubble was your vehicle.
My bubble,
now your
right.
bubble is your T-shirt,
Right.
which you think you might lose.
Right.
Some crazy ass motherfucker.
And so there's that disconnect of community, right? I can't begin to understand or identify with that community because I've not been there. I've not experienced what they've experienced, but not even that. Like, I've not really talked to these people. Period.
And I've overheard a few of your conversations with people in the community. One time you were going to a protest down a lot of people don't know where this is, but Central Booking in Baltimore. If you're from Baltimore, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Hopefully you've never been inside, but you were there to protest.
Right. I was at a protest and I got lost.
Mm-hmm.
And I only remember, I think I parked on like Cathedral Street. I parked like far a fuck away.
You literally parked on North Avenue and walked all the way down.
Yeah. And I just started talking to people. I'm like, hey, have you seen the protests? And I got some interesting responses. But probably the most interesting response was from a guy that needed money to take a bus to see his girlfriend in Harford County, which is probably like, 30, 40 minutes away. And I actually, like, just stopped and, like, listened to what the man had to say. We called his girlfriend and, you know, I was like, hey, man, if I had money, I'd give it to you. But I really just I gave him the time of day. Like, I know the protest, I wanted to get there, and I ended up missing the first half. But it's like, if I just ignore him, then I'm kind of defeating the fucking the point here, right?
Yeah, and I think that was the whole point. Like, I was thinking the whole time you're here to protest.
Yeah.
What exactly were you protesting? Was it the treatment of the inmates?
Inmates
or was
with
it
the COVID, and they weren't like,
All right, we're going to have to talk about that because I feel very strongly about that topic specifically.
Yeah. But yeah, there was that whole, I was almost in a way thrust into that situation. Like, here I am. Okay, what's up, man? You need some, okay, I'll help you out. I'll call your girlfriend. Cool.
I just remember you being very confused at the whole situation.
I was confused, but like I wasn't like scared. Like I was just confused.
And
like,
now this is what I want to talk about. That confusion that you had because there was a certain issue that you've never had to deal with.
Yeah.
So you weren't able to conceptualize anything that he was really saying.
No. Because
the issues weren't the same, right?
Right.
Now, I just watched one of my friend's mothers post something saying, I had no idea that rich people had worse problems than me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And I said, holy shit, you are right. What is that? Like, if you poor and you broke, you got the worst problems in the world. What possibly could a rich motherfucker have? What problems can you not solve with money? And I'm guessing that's the thing that we all here to know, right?
That's right.
What does money? I already know this. Does money create more issues? You laughing and I'm dead ass serious. Like you over here giggling like you smoked. I know you didn't. So come on, talk to me now.
So I don't know where the confusion comes in though. Because it's like I'm there and I'm trying to be I'm my authentic self, like, right, he needs help. And I think that, yeah, as you say, is the disconnect there. I'm just trying to tie it all in with what you just said, though. It's like I know what I'm trying to say, but like I'm trying to like
it's fine.
Actively formulate the sentence. Right?
That's why we're here.
Right. But nevertheless, there is that disconnect, and I think in that moment.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm asking. Like in that moment, you understood how little you knew about, like you were saying, like money transfers. Have you ever had to use Western Union before? Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Remember that?
I see what you're saying now.
Have you ever had to do that?
I almost did.
Right.
But then went around that and through Charles Schwab. So I learned a lot about
Right, but that's not the
Right,
same
it's
type
not,
of money
it's not,
transfer.
It's not. No, I understand that. I understand that, yes.
Going to Western
Yeah.
Union and sending somebody $10 versus a hard money loan,
Right.
then transfer, right? That's something totally different. That's an issue that you had to go through because that's what happens with money, right?
Right.
The higher you go up, you still have to do these same transactions,
Right.
except it just gets not necessarily more complex.
More
it's
institutionalized.
Just, there you go.
Right.
So I think that's the interesting part. We all go through the same fucking issues, but it's just like, is it exacerbated when you have more money? Or is it simpler when you have more money?
I don't know if they're all that different. Really? I mean, it's like, okay. So I got a loan for the car, right? And in order to get it to the dealer, right, the money gets sent to you first. So then the money gets wired to you, and then you have to wire it to the dealer. Well, first you have to have a bank that allows you to send the wire transfer, right? And so I had to do that. Then I had to get that money from my personal checking account to this new bank account to then wire that money to the dealer. So that is complicated. But at the same time, if somebody has to go to Western Union, right, and you have to find out how if they can't get there, maybe like how they're going to get there. This guy doesn't have a vehicle. How's he going to get there? He's got to take the bus.
And this was the thing I was thinking of, but I know you weren't thinking. He might have just got out of that jail you about to protest at.
He could have been, yeah.
That he literally could have just got out of jail.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right?
And how fucked up would it have been if I ignored him?
Right? That's context.
What context?
Boom. Right? And that's the whole point. Like, when she said that about, does a rich person have the same issues as me? It triggered something inside of me. I was like, holy fuck. No, they do. It's just different.
Yeah. It's different but the same, I guess.
Yeah, like me talking to my mother about mutual funds and her retirement funds and what to do. You know?
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm praying I'll be in that situation with my child where I can talk to them about the money that I saved up.
Right.
But that's something that everybody who has saved up their money is going to have that talk.
Yeah.
Some people have more money than others.
Yeah.
You know? And like, she didn't know who to talk to. So now we have to get advice.
I guess the other thing too, when I first started a corporate job, first of all, what was paid time off? I was like, what? You pay time off? Coming from a guy that worked at coffee shops and bagel shops and whatever, dishwasher. What?
Yeah,
pay time off? What the fuck does that mean?
I remember when Carla was like, all right, so what's your PTO look like? I'm like, I work at a fucking restaurant, Carla. She was like, you're not going to go talk to your HR department?
What?
My HR department, I stand next to the motherfucker every day. Like, there is no HR department. Like, there is one email address for the entire company.
Yep.
And you can literally stand next to HR all day and shit ain't gonna get done.
Got a problem with taking up right there. Right on the floor. Right there in service.
With a knife in hand.
He said, what? You want time off when?
Yeah, like, she was like, so are you going to be able to, like, take off for this and that? I'm like,
no.
I will try, but.
And denied.
Yeah, like, did you tell them that you had to be somewhere next week? Yeah, I told him, but.
He needs like 3 weeks notice. You got to write it down on paper. You got to submit it. He's got to look at it and think it over. No, he's not letting you do it.
Right. And then I'm okayed, right? They have somebody to support me now.
Yep.
But then he quits, so I'm back in the spotlight.
Yep.
So
there you go.
PTO is a beautiful fucking thing.
There was that thing, right? And then it's like, you get a 401k. It's like, what do I do? What do I do with that? You put money in it.
How much?
How much you put, and What are you invested in? And you let the fucking organization that has that money do it for you. And
Right.
what's an index fund and retirement fund? You don't. So it has become more complicated, but it's not more complicated than the guy that, let's suppose he just got out of jail
and cannot get home.
Right.
Exactly. It's just a whole different type of fucked up.
Perspective.
Yeah. I think, and this is the thing, we talked about not being in that community. So if you're not of that community, you'll never understand that. So why are people so opinionated about a community that they don't even understand?
Because they're in their house.
Because, like, I can say for a fact that if I have no idea how you live, I can't judge you. You know, just like the whole rioting thing. But what would drive, and that's the thing. I want you to think in your mind right now, how angry would you be to riot around here? What would have to happen for you to burn down houses around here and property?
Right. I mean, it'd have to get pretty bad, I imagine.
You imagine, what if it's already been bad?
Right.
Maybe that's what it is, but there you go. Cricket time. Boom. Already.
Can't even imagine.
That's the whole point. Like,
I was going to say, and also I was thinking about, I've protested. A couple months ago now. If I go to another one, I mean, yeah, am I a rioter? Because, right, you said rioting, I mean, protesters, right? What does that mean for me, right?
All right, well, coming from past history of being in protests, especially with Freddie Gray's protests that turned into riots, it's you need to understand that protests are like organisms, right? There's actually different protests within the same protest. So there's groups of different people. Like, we went to the one in DC.
Right.
They had the big Black Lives Matter protest, but there were groups within that were all together, right? They had all organized leaders, right? So it was like we were regiments in a battle. But certain people were just the regular casual people that want to show up and support. And then you have other people that look like regular people, but they are organized groups that can blend in.
Yep.
So now everybody looks like a rioter when one group. Actually, no, we weren't there to protest for a protest for Black Lives Matter. It was an anti-protest because there was a Trump rally
for the 1 year anniversary of Charlottesville.
There you go. And we were going to protest it, but I know people were there to fuck shit up.
Right.
I saw people with helmets, masks, everything.
And so I brought this up for the following reason, because now I am thrust into a world where people talk about the protests, right, but have never been
to
one.
Yeah.
And what that entails, and what it's like to experience that. First of all, what is that? The energy that's there. And
I would say it's powerful.
Yeah.
Like, this was pre-coronavirus, right? For that amount of people to come together for something that was powerful in itself. We all took time out of our day to be there.
For the one in DC, yeah, but I was about the one 2 months ago.
Yeah, post-virus.
Right, well, quote-unquote post-virus.
Right.
And still equally as powerful. Not as many people, obviously. DC had a lot more people, but... And you see people there that are standing, you see the police that are really following the caravan. And the people that live there that are supporting you being there. Because I think maybe... certainly they are appreciative that we are here and supporting them, but maybe in some way that now we really see, right? We had at least that moment, that day walk those streets and like see the conditions they're in or what the situation is, the environment. And yeah, we had to walk and figure the shit out. And so I would say to people that maybe view protesters and rioters one way, come to one.
Yeah, literally.
Show up.
Just show up.
That's it. You don't need a sign. You don't need nothing. Just show up. I got real special and made a sign. Woohoo for me. I made a fucking sign with spray paint. I'm real fucking special. No, just show up. And understand what it means to protest, and then stick around longer. I've not been around long enough to see it turn into a riot, because it turns into that sometimes. And that's a whole other ballgame, because there are many dynamics in that, I'm sure, of people that plant stuff.
Right.
We have people that planted those bricks, like the whole stack of bricks.
Like the whole point was, like, I used the DC protest as a large example of what every protest how every protest is. Right? Like, of course it's not going to be 500. Of course it's not going to be like 500 people there for one organization, but it could be 10. But 10 is enough to get headlines anywhere now.
So, yeah, it's plenty.
It's ridiculous. Like, that protest that same night is when they pulled down the statue.
Columbus statue, yeah.
There you go. I was like, oh shit, if Franco would have stayed like 3 more hours, he would have been right in the middle of it.
Would have been there. But we disbanded, and people probably got together after the fact, because we were all kind of like, everybody's going home, or it was a car caravan. And it's tough to know, because I didn't even hear about that. Nobody talked about it.
Your ear wasn't to that. You didn't have that part of the radio turned up, right?
I wasn't privy to that. Nobody talked about it. Now I'm on this app called Telegram, where people can, like, People's Power Movement, they have a messaging site, and you get notifications of protests. But even then, it's like you see some stuff in the news and it's not in that chat. It's like, okay, so who do I need to talk to figure that out? Because that communication is not there. I don't know when the fucking protest is going to be. Well,
I think for me, it's not about like a communication, it's security.
Yeah, that too.
Right. Because unfortunately, Frank, if I would meet you for the first time, I'd be like, I'm not telling this motherfucker shit about what we're doing. Right? I wouldn't be like, hey bro, yeah, come down, we're about to bust this fucking statue up and throw it in the water. No, because I'd be like,
yeah.
But that's the whole point.
Right. How do you know that you can trust me? How do people go down to these protests, or if they go down and go to everyone's place, and how do they know? How do they know they can trust the people in that community? And how does the community know they can trust people that have just entered?
That's why color is so important. Because that's the easy, quick, I don't feel like thinking about this too hard, or I don't have time to. You're a black dude. All right, cool. I can trust you. And that's where people go awry. Because many people have infiltrated organizations just because of that. Right, and destroyed them from within.
So you think that's a problem then?
That's the whole point. That's my Candace Owens thing, right?
Right.
Just because you have the complexion, don't mean you for the people.
Yep.
And then like I said, there's this one white guy that I follow. He looks like he could be your cousin, right? Long ass gold beard, crazy motherfucker, and he's ex-Marine, and all he does is train cops, and he has a whole social platform on social justice. Wow. And it's the most ironic shit I've ever seen, but he has really good insight.
Wow.
Right? So from eyesight, I would look at him, and I said this 2 podcasts ago, there's a certain type of person that I cannot get past, and it is that ultra rugged Marine look, right? That American Blue Lives Matter person, right, with the fucking Oakleys and whatever. I can't get over it.
That's why there's a Facebook group called Rednecks for Black Lives.
Right.
Yep.
Because that that's what every cop looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my brother, before he went to the reserve, right, and came back from Afghanistan, and now he's a cop, that's what he looks like. So I know kind of what to look for. But when he would speak, I didn't give him the time of day. And then I'm really listening like, man, looks don't matter.
I was in the BJ's, Sam's Club.
Yes.
Grocery store. People don't know what that is. And I was in line. You know how that line gets now. It's quite long because they got 6 feet apart and shit like that. And this was like a month ago. And there was this, overweight, long hair, white dude with like Crocs, and had like
Steve.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, our old math professor, pretty much.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. And he was standing in front of this. He was standing in front of a black man with his child, and for whatever reason, I just felt like this dude was going to say something to him, that this white man was about to say something to this dude. And because he was like, he kept turning around, like looking around, like, I don't know. But really all he was doing was just like saying, oh, this lane is open for you to go and like check out with your groceries. But in my mind was like, this dude is definitely going to say something.
Mm-hmm.
But why do I have that? Like, is it that expectation that they have to say it? And why do I have that expectation that they're going to say something?
Just the thought is destructive enough.
Yep.
It's ridiculous.
How do you see? But then the problem becomes, how do you get rid of it? And if you get rid of it, that means you have to have some kind of trust.
Right. And like we talked about with the riots, how we know who's invited to the cookout.
Right. That's the thing. How do you know?
I have this sneaky suspicion that a lot of people are angry right now because they know they wouldn't be invited to the cookout. I'm being serious, bro. I'm dead ass. Like, yeah, we've had enough time to digest all of the microcosms in the United States with these anarchist states, right? And how there was it Portland that had an actual autonomous zone where it was only black people allowed, really? And only certain white people allowed.
Wow.
Right? And how America was uproar. I'd say this is reverse racism.
Wow.
Right? Like they are intentionally stopping certain people from entering because they look a certain way. Now, why do you think they did that? What is the purpose of that?
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, does that also provide opportunity for infiltrators?
Well, that might have been the first step to stop infiltration, because you could have thought that was the thing. Right. Because if you say Antifa, whoever was coming in with your Black Lives Matter movement, let's say it was even Black Lives Matter movement was doing it, because we can look and see who actually started the organization. Right. Okay, well, is that what we represent?
Right. I mean,
or we just there because we actually believe those words? That's the thing.
You have to no, I understand what you're saying, but so I guess I'm still kind of stuck on, how do you know who to trust?
You do not.
But haven't organizations for a time they have like some kind of, I don't know, like sign they give somebody, or like they wear something, or you know what I mean? Like that's a slippery slope. That's a slippery slope right there.
I just want you to understand that that's how America has worked forever.
That is a slippery slope right there. Freemason shit. I mean, I'm talking about like Knights Templar, or like even gangs, or the Klan, or
there you go.
Holy shit.
Representation.
Just blew my mind.
So now you understand when you got a bald head why I said fear.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
I know you, but I don't know what other people are going to think about you. Now you're entering my world. Now you are looking a certain way that some people might not be used to. I want you to see how that feels. I want you to really like go about your regular life and see, like, look at how people look at you now.
Interesting. So you're saying I should keep the bald head?
I think you should try it as a social experiment.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
See what they like. Go into work.
Oh, my boss is bald.
No. You aren't. Let's say it like this. Being bald isn't necessarily a choice if you're balding, right?
Yes. Yep.
Other people choose to be bald because they have the bald head shape.
Yeah.
You don't have that bald head shape.
I don't?
You don't. I'm sorry. But you are bald because you want to be, and it shows, right?
Yep. Shit's already starting to sprout out.
There you go. So you're going to have to like really be about it.
Right.
So right now, let's kind of, what the fuck is this guy kind of doing here? You know what I mean? I'm cool with it. I understand, like, you want to be able to like drop the top on the Lincoln, like let the hair, blow over your head.
I'm just trying to try something new. That's really
right. Yeah, right. But I do want you to think about while you're doing this, what people look at you or how they look at you now.
You see, and I think that's the thing, though. I see the point here. Because I don't want to be looked at in that way.
Oh. Is that why you wear dress clothes and dress up nice?
Right.
Yeah, okay. Bumming around for a month and tell me how you feel.
I have. I've been working from home, but I have been bumming around. Yeah. I guess no. When I say that, it's like I have to wonder why. First of all, why that we give so much credence to what somebody looks like, right?
That's it.
I mean, that's it.
That was my cricket time,
right?
Like I just don't understand why it matters so much, and that's why I have such an issue with black people representing a group of black people, right? It doesn't work like that. I don't sit here and let Ben Shapiro speak for every white person.
Right.
But I can feel like there's pockets of people who look at, I don't even know the twins' names, but there's two black guys from Texas, I believe, or whatever. And all they wear is like the date when the union was started on their chest every time. And I'm thinking like, they don't represent me. They've never lived in inner city Baltimore. Right? And I was listening to these lyrics yesterday in this song, and he said, the only time we go to church is for a funeral. Right?
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, I don't wash my dress clothes. I don't. I don't know why. Because I feel like every time I have to put it on, it's for something bad, not for something good. Yeah. But they represent me. They understand my struggle. No. That's the shit that's like, bro.
Yeah.
When will people just figure out, yo, we all the fucking same. If one group of people is rioting, you should be alarmed. Not mad at them, but be alarmed because what happened that it brought them to this point? What happened that it brought a group of people, the people that you were with maybe, to a point where they ripped down a statue of wanting our key pivotal, I don't want to say role models in the country, but we already know what the motherfucker did. Right? But why is there a statue of him? And they say, you know what? You fuck with the wrong generation, he goes in the water.
Right.
And people are mad. Okay.
I can tell you in particular, because it's an Italian symbol. Oh,
and let's not even talk about where it was.
Right.
Because Little Italy, what is that? They literally said, hey, we want to create a space just for fucking Italian people. We're going to call it Little Italy. Let's do Black Little Africa and see what the fuck happens. Right? Oh, no, you can't do that. Every fucking little shop there is owned by somebody Italian, but nobody has an issue.
They pretty much did what Columbus did. Cricket time.
Literally. Like
Oh, God.
Context is everything.
Yeah.
If somebody want to create a little Africa, there's going to be some Karen somewhere saying, that's reverse racism. Let them fucking do it. You don't have to go there.
Right.
Motherfucker, try to go. You won't get into the cookout, and that's why you fucking mad.
Nope.
Right? Like, it's just, if you look around enough, it's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot every time we make an argument. Mm-hmm. Every time we point one finger at them, like they say, the old thing, you got 3 pointing back.
Yep.
Because you just complaining about shit that, not saying you created, but America created.
So this whole conversation mainly is about awareness.
Context. That's it. That's the word. Context.
Yeah, but you gotta be aware to recognize there's context.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm aware. I didn't even think about that I'm gonna look a certain way, right?
Your image. Like, I literally had an entire podcast about your image and controlling your narrative.
Yeah.
Because your image is very important.
Here I am changing it up.
There you go.
And see what happens next.